Well, all right, folks. Thank you for logging in, checking out this very special interview. And without further ado, the following interview is scheduled for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. The man in the hot seat, if you would please introduce yourself to the public.
I am Casey Hopkins, co-founder and co-creator of the Isolation Wrestling Federation.
Very, very cool, very exciting. This is a breath of fresh air for the wrestling community. I mean, it's always been kind of experimental within the past 10 to 15, almost 20 years, but this, like what brought this on, if I may ask? Was this always something you had in mind, or was it more of a strike while the iron's hot kind of scenario?
Well, basically, what the Isolation Wrestling Federation is, it's the world's first no-contact wrestling federation, so it's entirely promo-based. What essentially started it was my dear friend Jimmy and co-creator. He basically started calling out a couple of his friends on Instagram to like wrestling promo battles, and I was one of them. And then we basically just started the Instagram, and I started doing all the posting and stuff, and like gradually we ended up taking on people from all over, and then just like having this entire world of characters who are just participating kind of from all over. And I mean, it was kind of a product of the moment when COVID first started. I mean, I think we started March 28th. And I mean, it picked up real quick from there because everyone was just, inside and looking for stuff to do. And then, we've always been like big fans of wrestling. So, I mean, we've also always kind of been cutting wrestling promos here or there, whether or not it was on Instagram or social media. So it was just like kind of a natural thing that happened. We were bored and locked up.
Well, I mean, something's always got to light that spark and get the fuse going, and it's quite interesting how this all went. And to think that, for the longest time, people were afraid that they just weren't going to get any type of wrestling entertainment. And, this came about, with the failing of 2K20 in the WWE games, they weren't sure what was going to happen. And then, the new Battlegrounds and Retromania popped up. So, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and you have contributed to that.
Well, thank you. It is really a great time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, like, when I was a kid, I mean, that was obviously, like, the most exciting time for me. It was, like, it's basically potty trained on wrestling action figures. So, like, this is, like, the first time since I was a kid I've been as excited about it. But it's also one of the craziest times, I would probably say, in the entire world. And it's kind of strange how that's happening when they've completely removed the audience.
Yeah, that was kind of haunting, so to speak, would you say?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Especially when it first started. Like, when they were first doing those shows without the audiences, you're just like, what? What is this? It was like, even some segments that I've seen, they just, like, it would just have, like, this quality of the movie The Room. I don't know if you've ever seen The Room.
Oh, God, yeah. Was that kind of your goal, was to become the Room of wrestling?
No, but I mean, like, sometimes I would watch certain segments and I was like, did Tommy Wiseau direct this? Did he produce this? But, yeah, no, I mean, the isolation side of it, and, like, people having, like, people not being able to actually be in the crowd to watch wrestling shows has changed the dynamic of it. But I've definitely seen, like, there's definitely a shift in everything. I mean, there's certain stuff that WWE's trying that's pretty interesting. AEW seems to have adapted pretty well to everything too. I mean, they're definitely, I would say, more of an absurdist company at this point than WWE.
Well, and speaking of the absurd, the fact that there are more cinematic types of matches going on as well, which, as much as people are going to say, oh, yeah, this just kind of got started. I recall a couple of kids from Cameron, North Carolina kind of did that for us quite a few years ago, and I must say it was wonderful.
Yes, there was that, and there was also the the cinematic match between Roddy Piper and Goldust.
Oh yes,
WrestleMania.
God, that was. Oh God, I almost forgot about that.
Yep.
You know, that
I think it was the back lot match, Hollywood back lot match, or what it was called. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, with a very particular Bronco showing up as well.
Yep.
Oh,
with the Bronco chase. Yeah.
Oh God. And a lot of cinephiles almost forgot that it was great that Roddy got to have a backlot match, almost reminiscent of They Live.
Yep.
If only if only they had argued over a pair of sunglasses, it would have been great.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Every great conflict in wrestling or just in general is started over a pair of sunglasses. You know, it's like it just happens. It happens.
Well, I mean, why do you think guys were always going after Bret Hart? It was those damn shades. They wanted a pair, and he wasn't letting them have any.
Yeah, that's where all of his wrestling prowess came from. Was actually those shades. And as the match went on longer, basically his power that he gained from them, it decreased over time. So that's why he lost sometimes, because that power ran out. But anytime that he won, it's because he still had the power of the shades.
Well, that and, you know, something about Canada just fuels certain wrestlers. You know, whether it be positive energy or negative energy. You put Shawn Michaels in Canada and, you know, the horns come out and he's this dangerous little leprechaun to them. But, you know, he gets the job done.
It's true. It is true. There is that Canadian magic that just makes people incredible technical wrestlers.
It does make me wonder if WWE had ever done a few more tours in like Japan, what kind of stuff we would have seen. Like, would Shawn Michaels have been the one to start, you know, having people kick out of Sweet Chin Music? Like,
Yeah, there's that, or what if he got assaulted by a group of Marines in Japan too? That's
good God. Good God.
We're talking about 90s Michaels. Apparently that's a more difficult version. The new Michaels is apparently great, but old Michaels in Japan or any respect-based culture, I would think probably wouldn't go as well.
But
you would be a massive heel in Japan, I think.
Oh yeah, but it would have worked. It totally would have worked.
Oh, it would have. But I think he would have. He's the type of person that would have just pissed off so many people in Japan, like, especially with all the stories you hear about him in the '90s. I mean, not now. Not now. He's a total mensch nowadays. Yeah, he's apparently a sweetheart from all that I heard, but.
Yeah, he legitimately mellowed out. That's not like good PR. Like he legitimately mellowed out.
Totally. Oh no. Yeah, no. There's like 20 years of experience there and proof there. So.
Yeah. But your product is what we're actually like talking about today, and I'm sorry I derailed you there for a moment, but like.
Oh no, it's all right.
Did you expect the types of characters, the personalities to show up that did? Like this big orc guy, my God, he looks really familiar. I think I parked his car one time, to be honest. Seriously, one time when I was working at the Sheridan in downtown Austin, like half of the WWE roster came in, and I swear I parked the Ascension car.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, they were really cool. Jerry Lawler, amazing tipper. Personally gave me a 20 and actually showed up when he said he was going to. He's like, could you get my car ready at 4:30? I had it ready at 4:25, and lo and behold, he's coming down. He's coherent. He's polite. He shook my hand, looked me in the eye, talked to me like I was a human being or something. It was weird.
Yeah, that's strange. It's strange. He talked to you like you were a human being? That's
weird. Yeah, but yeah, the characters that came into your federation just.
Yes, Big Orc came in and he feuded with Harold Hopkins and the Jim Reaper, and teamed with Beef Fajita, the half man, half horse.
Yeah, and so, some of these names like the Jim Reaper, that's brilliant.
Yeah, the Jim Reaper is definitely a brilliant thing. No relation to the Undertaker, obviously.
No, of course not. Absolutely
No,
not.
no. I mean, if anything, Jim Reaper is just more dark and more badass and more of an undead zombie than the Undertaker could have ever hoped to be. Really, if we're thinking about it, he's just rough and tumble.
Well, I mean, like, does a zombie even need to lift, bro? Like, seriously, do they need to lift?
No, I mean, like, all the power is supernatural. So, like, if we're just being realistic, all the math and all the work that Undertaker put into, his body and his stamina back in the day was all waste, because that could all just be a channel from Satan. So,
Well, and also, there was hints of voodoo, because he was getting carried around by an urn. He was being guided by an urn, which, I mean, I'm no practitioner myself, but I was engaged to a bruja at one point, and I learned a little bit here and there about, a little bit of cinnamon and some egg yolk over a couple of sticks, and you can make your parole officer lay off you real easy.
I'm not sure if I understand that one fully, but fair enough. Fair enough.
And along the lines of these people coming into the IWF, like, what exactly is the audition process?
The audition process is fairly simple for the competitors of the IWF, the No Contact Warriors. Basically, what you do is you create a debut video where you mention your wrestler's name, you hashtag IWF Pros, and then you add Isolation Wrestling Federation. And your video has to just have music in the background, but your voice has to be audio or audible, and it basically has to be clear in terms of the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, okay, you brought up that there was in fact some tag matches that have happened recently. Is that going to be a division that shows up within the IWF? Will there be tag promos?
Yeah, we've had tag team promos. Mainly we focused on singles, but Big Orc's appearance was actually a tag team appearance with Beef Fajita, and that's when they defeated Harold Hopkins and the Jim Reaper for the IWF tag team titles. But they have not defended them yet. We've mainly been focusing on the singles division. We had our first ever tournament, the King of the Screen, about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was very exciting. I did see some of that.
Yes, with Triple D becoming the champion, Delicious Dwayne Douglas.
Yes, quite the controversial figure.
Yes, the Taste Daddy is arguably the most controversial person in wrestling. If we're just being honest, like, this is just speaking facts. I'm speaking from a place of truth right now.
Yeah, very much so. He's just got a very punchable face, it seems.
I mean, at first it's punchable, but then you look at him long enough and you just stare at him and the disgusting, delicious things that he does, and he becomes a work of art.
Yeah, it's as if Adam Pacitti became a Yankee or something. It's weird.
Delicious Dwayne Douglas is a marvel, a work of art in his own right. But we've mainly been focusing on the single stuff, but we are going to start having some more tag teams coming in. I've heard some rumors of some stables that want to be joining.
Oh, really?
So, yes. I've heard of a bunch of different ideas, but there's one person that wants to come in with an entire stable of wrestlers and debut that way. So spoiler alert, that will be most likely happening at some point, but I don't know when.
I knew Eric Bischoff had to be involved in this somehow.
He is. I mean, he obviously is. I mean, this was all Bischoff's idea.
Oh, okay. And there's the swerve. So Russo got involved.
I mean, no, Russo. We fired Russo after the second day. I mean, he pitched a second Kennel from Hell match, and we just said no, can't do it, Russo.
And of course, Insta found out about that, so you had to let him go. Otherwise, you'd lose all of your support.
Yeah, I mean, God damn it! Like, basically, we posted, and people were like, "Fire Russo," so we had to. We had to. It was just overwhelming. We got flooded with comments telling us how much of a terrible writer Vince Russo was.
Well, hey, he's no Vic Venom. I will say that.
He's no Vic Venom. I mean, that guy was one heck of a magazine writer.
Well, I will say you have had some interesting characters come through. And did my phone glitch, or did I actually see Mick Foley within the IWF?
Yeah, you did see Mick Foley. He was currently feuding, I would say, with Casanova Valentine, who he recently revealed is his son. I know this has been very painstakingly documented throughout the years, especially series like Holy Foley, but now Mick has revealed that his long-lost child is actually Deathmatch wrestler Casanova Valentine.
So you can say that Casanova Valentine is Mr. Foley's baby boy.
Yes, as Mick Foley put it, he's Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Huh. This has been quite the interesting reveal.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. I was not even anticipating that. But, Mick Foley, it's really admirable that he's stepping up this late in his life as a parent. I mean, you can tell he's already a busy parent, a great father, and now he's just adding one more to the stock. Just owning up to the past behavior. I won't call him a mistake. I'll call it behavior because it created a beautiful child in Casanova Valentine. So it's great that Mick has stepped up as a father.
Well, hey, I mean, Mick Foley proved that chicks dig scars. I mean, that one missing ear there's got to be something that just gets the ladies to go, ooh, I'd like to nibble on the other one. So, I mean, I get it. I completely understand how Mick might pull this off.
I mean, that's the thing. It's just, there are rumors that at one time they wanted Mick Foley and Kiss just for his ability with the women, not because of musical abilities. It's just because of, a prolific was another way. So,
well,
who knows how this happened?
Someone had to teach Paul Stanley what to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why Mick Foley was ultimately considered. He was just brought on as an advisor because of his expertise in the area. But, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley just needed advice how to be just, I don't know how to put it. But if you know Kiss, you know what you're referring to, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, he didn't teach Ace really how to play the guitar, that's for sure.
That's true. That is true.
Well, are there any other future plans? Like I know most of the promos are, dare I say, more hardcore in the verbiage. Will there be a quote unquote pure division? Will one be disqualified if expletives are used in a future division or not?
Possibly. I mean, we've talked at times about maybe doing something that's more of a PG breakup because the crazier your promos are, more likely that Instagram at some point or wherever on social media will try to censor it. So it really just depends. But ultimately, I think that it's not as I have to disagree at this point. It's not as hardcore as it used to be. We've scaled back. We're no longer the IWA Mid-South of no contact wrestling. We're classy. We're classy.
Oh, you're going for more of the sponsors, huh?
Yeah, no, totally. We're going for sponsors right now. That's what we're doing.
So it's no longer going to be ... cuss words. It's going to be ... verbiage.
Yes, 100%. 100%. We're professionalized now. It's like when Steve Austin put on.
Oh yeah. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a thing very briefly where he put on the suit and then he attacked Vince McMahon.
Very true, very true. Which is funny. You see Austin in a suit, kind of puzzling. Ric Flair in a suit, bleeding from the head, and it makes all the sense in the world.
No, it does. And Ric Flair and Mick Foley are just two spectacular individuals. Let's just put it that way.
Very, very true indeed. But is there going to be any gender specific stuff coming up? Will there be an exclusive women's division, or are you keeping it intergender competition?
Well, there currently is it's all intergender. But there is a women's champion currently. He is Double H, Harold Hawkins, the new game. And he's been the women's champion since the outset of the IWF. And he is going to be challenged by Busty Biceps, who is the number one contender for the women's title. And realistically, the women's title, to be honest, shouldn't exist because it's all intergender. So
very true.
Yes, exactly. This is no contact. This is not full contact. Whatever. Ultimately, we're always going to have more belts. But right now, ultimately, the women's division is still intergender.
That's very interesting. So you got your own Kaufman, for lack of a better term.
Yes, we do have our own Andy Kaufman, I guess.
Very interesting indeed. Now, have there ever been any, because I'll admit, full disclosure, haven't caught every encounter of IWF, but have there ever been any special stipulations as of late, aside from, obviously, the belts up for grabs?
Oh, yeah, no, there have been different stipulations. One was basically Tony Danger, if he lost, he had to accept paternity over Busty Biceps. That's her father. So that was one particular stipulation. Triple D versus Casanova Valentine, fighter who was just Wayne Douglas winning the championship. The conditions of that is if Triple D lost, Casanova Valentine could block him on social media. He did. Triple D is still blocked by Casanova Valentine. I know it's a shame, but here at the IWF, wins and losses matter. There are stakes behind every matchup, whether you know it or not. Oh, and I forgot one of the most important. If you lose to Eric Ketchup, you are added to his harem. So you basically just become a sex toy. So there's always that.
Wow.
Yeah, wins and losses matter in the IWF. It just happens.
Wow. So, I mean, has anyone questioned that stipulation? I mean, has anyone spoken out about it?
No, Eric Ketchup is really restrictive in terms of typically the PR for his stable. Let's just refer to it that way, as his stable. But, sometimes Diamond Dillon and Danny Billions, they make their appearances, but only with Eric Ketchup's permission.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, I got to say, there's a lot going on over there. And wasn't there a recent funeral?
There was a Powers. He was shot in cold blood. People think that it's Beef Fajita based off the footage of him shooting with a sniper rifle. But Beef Fajita has contested this, and as the judge of Wrestler's Court, he's absolved himself of all guilt. So even though we have footage of him shooting Dick Powers, you're going to have to let him go. He's the judge of Wrestler's Court, so who's going to argue with it?
It's like there's a horse loose in the hospital or something.
Yeah, no, there's absolute chaos going on in the Isolation Wrestling Federation right now.
Well, I'm almost at a loss for words, but are there any big tournaments people need to watch out for that are coming up?
We're going to have the upcoming, let's call it a pay-per-view, but it's not fully a pay-per-view, between Busty Biceps and Harold Hopkins for the IWF Women's Championship. And it's being tentatively titled Fighter Fest, but it's spelled normal, like F-I-G-H-T-E-R, like Fighter Fest, so kind of like AW, it's spelled out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that won't be confusing at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, that's very exciting.
It's the most exciting thing in professional wrestling.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. And hopefully I'll be able to do a play-by-play on Lunas Macho Monday after the event has happened to get people caught up if for some reason they're just not logging into the IWF to check this out.
I mean, if it isn't you, it'll obviously be Dave Meltzer. Let's just be real. He can cover all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Very least.
6-star promos, absolutely. I can see that happening.
That's what I'm saying. It's unavoidable, especially when you're talking about Busty Biceps or Double H Harold Hopkins, the new gig.
Well, yeah. Does any of your talent have like stores set up at ProWrestlingTees.com or anything like that?
We do not, but that's something that we are working on, and we honestly should have done. There was this guy from one of these ESPN podcasts, Dan Levitar show. His name's Michael Ryan Ruiz. He tweeted out a few months ago that he wanted Giovanni Lasagna merch. So yeah, that's one of the things that we are working on is getting some merch going at this point. It's been a little bit since we first considered it.
Well, I mean, if 80s Mania Wrestling Returns can do it, so can you. Oh, for some reason things cut out for a moment. I do apologize for that.
That's okay.
But to get everyone completely caught up, is there a consistent schedule that we can almost set our watches to with the IWF, or is it very sporadic? Like, is Beef Fajita just gonna bust out a promo at 2 a.m, or do you have like the weekly roundup on Fridays?
There's no 2 a.m. in the morning promos. Basically the time for the posts and stuff. We used to basically post a ton of content. We realized that we were posting between like 30 to 40 minutes of content per week because we were running 4 to 5 videos a day. But now we're trying to keep it around 2 videos a day. Anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes of content a week. But the times that we're posting it, I usually try to get stuff up by like noon. Everyone has lives and stuff like that outside of this, even though everybody's lives have been slowed down because of COVID. So I usually try to get things up by noon, and then have another post up maybe by like 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock. But I just try to be lax on that as well, just for myself and our creators, because if I start imposing hard times for when things go up like it is a show, then it just gets stressful when we keep everything fun.
Yeah, you don't want to suffer from burnout. I completely.
Yeah, exactly. And like we realized for the first 2 months that we were doing this, we took a break after the Black Lives Matter protest, stuff like that, because it just felt kind of weird to be doing stuff on social media when social media was being mainly used for sharing resources and information for activism. So coming back into that, we were thinking, it's just like, God, dude, is there really a point to be putting out as much content as we were doing? Because also, when you're putting out so much stuff, it makes it harder to follow some of the things you want people to pay attention to. So, like, there's always that. But, we realized that, within the first 2 months, we had basically created as much content as, like, South Park does in a season. And none of us really knew each other before we started doing this, with the exception of a few of us. So it was kind of mind-blowing there.
And do you see yourselves touring at any point?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it's possible. We definitely have talked about it and considered it. But, before this, I was in a band in New York City, and we were touring and we would play live shows. And there's something more I would love to do and be in front of an audience. But, I mean, once that's, safe and actually we're able to do that, then, we would love to be able to do stuff like that.
Very cool, very cool. Well, folks, once again, if you want the premier no-contact promotion out there, IWF, an Instagram exclusive. I'm correct in that information, right?
That is true. We do have a Twitter account, and we will be expanding out to YouTube pretty soon. So that's an exclusive that you have. But we're going to start putting a lot of this stuff pretty soon on YouTube in a longer form. So you can follow it in a different way besides just Instagram and each of the posts. Because Instagram's a great medium for its thing, but you know anything about Instagram, its algorithm is absolute dog shit for being ranked. So, it's on Instagram currently, but we're going to be expanding out to other platforms.
Well, all right. Thank you again. It has been a privilege, and hopefully we can do a follow-up maybe 6 months down the road, something like that.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
But, ladies and gentlemen, once again, please check out Isolation Wrestling Federation on Instagram before they get too big and they can't keep in contact with you. Until next time, I'm Ian the Torch Eddie, the man on the hot seat, Casey.
Yep, Casey Hopkins from the Isolation Wrestling Federation.
Hopkins.
Yep.
All right. Can we get a hashtag thank you, Casey, out there, folks? Can we get that going, please? And until next time, that's it. It's over. Ring the bell.